Two more leftist Democrat ladies entered the 2020 presidential contest over the weekend, prompting America to respond. We will analyze the official Liz Warren kickoff, as well as Klobuchar's snowy global warming warning. Then, John Kasich does yoga, Virginia politicians do minstrel shows, and the Grammys award people for neither singing nor dancing. Finally, the Pope pals around with the Grand Sheikh in Arabia, while Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar defames the Jews. I'm Michael Knowles, and this is The Michael Knowles Show. Really interesting religious realignment going on right now in America and throughout the world. This story is probably the most underreported news story. It happened last week. The Pope, for the first time ever, visited the Arabian Peninsula. Excuse me, I'm so excited by this story that I can't even get the words out. The Pope visited the Arabian Peninsula for the first time in 2,000 years. No pope has ever gone down there. This is all, I think, finally a Western reckoning on scientific materialism, on atheism, on the religion or irreligion that came out of the Enlightenment. This is a huge news story. It really, really matters. And so, of course, the mainstream media are not reporting on it. But we will report on what looks to be an alliance between the Muslim world and the religious Western world against atheism. But first, we have got to cover 2020. We have got to cover Liz Warren's, I think, 7th campaign kickoff. How many times has she kicked off this campaign already? I don't know. We'll cover that. We'll cover Klobuchar. We'll cover the dark horse Democrat. But first, let's make a little money, honey, with Untuck It. Untuck It. Listen, here's a tip. No guy looks very good in a long, bulky dress shirt when it is untucked. You might think, oh, I'm a cool guy. Yeah, I look casual. Yeah, hey, don't worry. I don't even need to tuck in my shirt. Usually, with most shirts, this ends up looking sloppy. That's because those shirts were not meant to be worn that way. Untuck It makes shirts specifically designed to be worn untucked. Do you get it? It's in the name. You should get that. They're really good. These shirts are cool. I noticed because Jeremy the God King Boring would wear them constantly. And I was like, oh, Jeremy, man, those shirts look pretty cool. And he was like, right, that's Untuck It. I can afford that because I'm your boss. Now it turns out you can get a special offer from Untuck It just for my listeners. Go to untuckit.com or visit one of Untuck It's 50 stores across the US and Canada. I've actually, before they were a sponsor, I went into one. They fitted me out for a shirt. Great customer service. Untuck It even offers free shipping and returns on all orders in the US. Use promo code MKS for 20% off your first purchase. Don't say I never did nothing for you. If you want the perfect fitting shirt, regardless of your shape and size, try the original untucked shirt. Remember, use promo code MKS for 20% off your first purchase. Elizabeth Warren is officially running for president again. I know she officially was doing it 3 months ago, and then officially this. She has another campaign kickoff, and here she is kicking off her first day on the trail by trying to be Donald Trump.
Every day, there's a racist tweet, a hateful tweet, something really dark and ugly. And what are we, as candidates, as activists, as the press, going to do about that? We're going to chase after those every day? Are we going to let him use those to divide us? You know, here's what bothers me. By the time we get to 2020, Donald Trump may not even be president. In fact, he may not even be a free person.
Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, wow. Here she is, coming out swinging, feisty Elizabeth Warren. And she's going to fight back against Donald Trump by doing a really lame version of his original joke. That's our gal, Liz Warren. A woman who, I mean, she is a lecturer, so the fact that she's lecturing people is not surprising. We should expect that, but it's so tedious. It's so grating. I can't imagine anybody really likes the sound of this. She can't pull off doing Trump. She's not Trump. She's very much not Trump. For one, I don't think Donald Trump is even 1/1000th Native American. She is obviously not Trump. She's trying to do that great Trump moment from the debate with Hillary Clinton. Here it is.
Just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
It's not, when Liz Warren does it, it's not even close. He does it right on the cuff. He says, I don't want to be in a world where Donald Trump is president. Yeah, you'd be in jail. That's why. Boom, mic drop. Whereas she does it, it's obviously planned, it's obviously contrived, and it's in this weird language. He might not even be a free person in 2020. Yeah? Huh? Am I right? She can't do it. She's the definition of a limousine liberal. She's a racial fraud. The race stuff is dogging her. It's going to keep dogging her. MSNBC, Joe Scarborough seems to think that by the spring, all of that Native American stuff will be behind her. It won't be. I'm telling you, it will not be behind her. Why not? Because if she could have figured out a way to put this behind her, she would have done it already. She would have done it for the 2 years now that Donald Trump has been calling her Pocahontas. And for even longer than that, that these allegations have been around, that her fraud has been exposed. If she had an answer, she would have given an answer, but she doesn't have one. She doesn't have an answer. And so this is, by the way, why she keeps doing all of these campaign kickoffs. For, okay, she made a whole huge deal about the exploratory committee. She's making a whole huge deal about the beer video. She's trying to get a fresh start. She needs a fresh start because she knows that her racial fraud is going to destroy her campaign, if it hasn't already, which obviously it has. So she keeps saying, okay, well, if we're going to do a clean break, we're going to address the racial fraud first, and then once that's taken care of, then we're going to start a new campaign. So actually, before she even announced the first announcement, she released that genetic test. She thought, okay, I'm going to release this genetic test. It's going to show that I'm maybe 1/1024th Native American. And then people will say that it's okay that I called myself Native American, and then we can announce fresh start. Whoops, didn't work. And then, okay, the beer, now I'm getting into a social media campaign. All that official stuff is behind. Now I'm going to have a fresh start. I like beer. I still like beer. I'm not a robot. I hug my husband. Total flop. People made fun of her for days because she's not Ocasio-Cortez, because she's just so stiff and not credible. And okay, well, that's been now the official launch of the campaign. There's no fresh start. There's no fresh start for Elizabeth Warren. It's not going to happen. She also just doesn't have the qualities that make for effective candidates. I have seen candidates, otherwise good candidates, who, like, their face didn't look great. There maybe a little bit when they spoke, their nose pinched up too much. Maybe these things really matter. It seems superficial, but look, it's democratic politics. This is superficiality. You're talking about a popularity contest here. They're, of course, going to accuse Republicans and conservatives who criticize Liz Warren of chauvinism or sexism or misogyny or whatever. It's not misogyny, it's applying the same standard to male and female candidates. You hear, how many times did we hear during the 2016 race that Ted Cruz was facially challenged? I think Ted Cruz himself joked about this. This is just the sort of scrutiny that public candidates are up for, especially in a democratic republic where people are voting for you. She just doesn't have it. There's a more interesting candidate who is now also officially running for president. I'm damning with faint praise here because most candidates are more interesting than Liz Warren, but Amy Klobuchar, senator from Minnesota, actually makes a much stronger case than Liz Warren.
In our nation's heartland, at a time when we must heal the heart of our democracy and renew our commitment to the common good, I stand before you as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner, as the daughter of a teacher and a newspaperman, as the first woman elected to the United States Senate from the state of Minnesota, to announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
All right, before I make fun of this announcement, there's a lot to make fun of here. I do want to point out the positives. She comes across as a much stronger candidate. Just in general, she looks stronger, she looks better, she's smiling in a way that Liz Warren, Hillary Clinton, all the time they would be scowling. The only time they weren't scowling is when they do that awkward forced laugh, that Hillary, ha ha, well, we're gonna run and I'm gonna, ha ha, you know, and there's that, just that brief moment. Amy Klobuchar much more naturally gets it. She gets Democrat politics, she's better on the stump, she's better with voters, and she comes across as stronger. Liz Warren comes across as a frail college lecturer. Amy Klobuchar, she is a career politician. This lady has been running for office for a very long time. She was an county executive or something in Minnesota. She's taken the long way up, and she's learned a thing or two on the trail. So that's all good for her. The downside for her is she also doesn't have a great voice. The other downside for her is that she's from true blue Minnesota. Minnesota has voted for the Democrat in every single presidential election since 1976. Even in 1984, when Ronald Reagan won 49 states, he won the whole country, Minnesota still managed to go blue. So she doesn't bring a whole lot with her, and she doesn't have much of a reason to moderate. She doesn't have much pushing her toward the center, which might help her in a general election. But then she has one really awful thing going for her. She has one really awful thing going for her that actually every other Democrat candidate has to deal with. We'll get to that in a second, but first, Valentine's Day is coming up. There are only 3 days left until Valentine's Day. Fellas, I've been in your shoes. I know. We've all been there. I just made my dinner reservation last night for Valentine's Day. Only by the grace of God was I able to get a dinner reservation. Get your flowers now. If you don't have the perfect surprise already picked out, you're cutting it really close. Right now, pull over your car. Go check out my friends at 1-800-Flowers.com. They have amazing deals on vibrant and romantic Valentine's rose bouquets, arrangements, and more, starting at just $29.99. Like 18 romantic red roses for $29.99. They are beautiful. I gave some to sweet little Elisa already. We have them sitting on our kitchen table. They're just gorgeous. They come in just a really nice box so that they don't really get damaged along the way. Beautiful flowers. You have to hurry though. Do it right now. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak. They are shipped overnight to ensure freshness, and to her amazement, they last. They're just really nice. And $29.99 is an amazing deal for 18 romantic red roses that won't last very long. Pick your delivery date. Let 1-800-Flowers handle the rest. When it comes to Valentine's Day, I don't settle for anything less than my Rose Authority, 1-800-Flowers.com. To order Valentine bouquets, arrangements, and more, starting at $29.99, like 18 romantic red roses for $29.99, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter promo code COFEFE, C-O-V-F-E-F-E. Order today, save at 1-800-Flowers.com, promo code COFEFE, C-O-V-F-E-F-E, radio code COFEFE. Check it out. Okay. The one really bad issue that Amy Klobuchar has to deal with, that all of them have to deal with, is timing. The timing is the issue, because broadly things are all breaking in Donald Trump's direction right now, one after another, even right down to this beautiful moment from the announcement speech. Amy Klobuchar standing there as snow is pouring down, covering her head, and what does she choose to focus on? Global warming.
Here is another one, climate change. The people are on our side when it comes to climate change. Why? Because like you and I, they believe in science. That's why in the first 100 days of my administration, I will reinstate the clean power rules and the gas mileage standards and put forth sweeping legislation to invest in green jobs and infrastructure. And on day one, we will rejoin the International Climate Agreement.
We will do all of that on day one, just as soon as I dig myself out of the blizzard that I am certainly finding it must be caused by global warming. In the global warming blizzard that is coating my hair in snow, Day one, we will do it. Really bad time. I mean, in this case, really particularly bad timing because she's giving a speech in part on global warming. I mean, she's made this a big issue. This is the big left-wing issue. We talked about this a little bit. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina yesterday giving a speech at the Young America's Foundation. Environmentalism, global warming, is the issue for the left. I know it just seems like a pet issue. It just seems like, okay, environmentalism's one, raising taxes is another, healthcare. No, environmentalism is the whole thing because it's the religion. The religion is the religion of global warming, and the religion is then totalizing it. It takes in part everything. So this Green New Deal is the great example of that. The Green New Deal, for some reason, includes a jobs program, a mandatory universal basic income. It destroys 88% of the American energy industry. It destroys and then rebuilds every single residential and non-residential building in America. It takes over a sixth of the U.S. economy and forces a socialist healthcare program that destroys private insurance and eliminates patient choice. Why is all of that in an environmental bill? What does that have to do with the Delta smelt or the polar bears? Seemingly nothing, unless you realize that this is not about protecting the natural environment. This is the totalizing religion of the left, and through this religious bill, they'll get everything they want. The Green New Deal sets up a mechanism, a select committee, such that they can pass any law they want. The committee, without any accountability to voters, without any campaigning, without any Democratic or Republican politics, just pure tyranny. They get everything through. It's the whole system. And so that's why they all have to focus on global warming. And like every other false religion, no amount of data are going to convince them to drop it. Like all other false religions, they can be standing. They're waiting for the world to end. The world's going to end at midnight on Tuesday. They're all out there waiting for the world to end. Midnight comes. It's 12:02. Everybody's still alive. What happens to their faith? Their faith doesn't go away. They double down on it. They say, oh, it's going to be really bad when it happens tomorrow. They're going to double all down on this. So what you're hearing now, this is the left-wing response to President Trump made this same joke about Amy Klobuchar. He said, oh, not a great look, and you're covered up in snow. You look like a little snowman talking about global warming. And they say, you idiot, weather isn't climate. Weather is when one discrete weather event happens, and climate is the totalizing religion that we believe in. That's basically the difference. So they say one single event in the weather doesn't move the needle on global warming one way or the other. It's the totality of events. Except they don't abide by that rule when the weather helps their position. When there's some big flood, they say it's global warming. When there's a heat wave, they say it's global warming. When one year is hotter than the previous year, they say that is global warming. When there's a heat spell in the middle of summer, that is global warming. And now, because it's a totalizing religious system, it's unfalsifiable. So when the weather's too cold, it's global warming. When the weather's too hot, it's global warming. When the weather doesn't move at all, as it didn't for a very long period of time between the late 90s and today, when the global mean temperature doesn't increase, they say that's global warming too. Extreme weather, moderate weather, any kind of weather is global warming. So then they lecture us. They say the weather isn't climate. Give me a break. You've got to pick a lane. You can't have it both ways. So despite the fact that global warming predictions have not come true, despite the fact that New York is not underwater, Florida is not underwater, it's like Al Gore predicted, it hasn't been underwater for 10 years, no evidence that it's catastrophic. Despite all of this, they're going to stick to it. And Amy Klobuchar on day one is going to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. Except, what about that evidence? We're not in the Paris Climate Accord. A lot of other countries are. We are leading the way on meeting the goals of the Paris Climate Accord. We actually are reducing air pollution, and the other signatory countries to the Paris Climate Accord are not. It's just words to them. It's just joining in on an ideology. It has nothing to do with the reality, even though we are already exceeding the other nations who actually joined the Paris Climate Accord. Doesn't matter. It's just that sort of radicalism. And they need to be this radical. The left Democrats need to be this radical. This is the part of the campaign where everybody is really far left-wing to shore up the Democrat base, especially because there are early primaries now. California moved up the Democrat primary, so they've got to be really radical now. Then they'll try to moderate in the general election. Except there's this awful confluence of now the Democrats are currently especially radical. The Democrat Party is now today especially radical. You had the Green New Deal. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez actually wiped the Green New Deal frequently asked questions sheet off of her website. She took it off because we all made fun of it so much. She took it off her website, and then her strategists went around and said that Republicans had made it up. The strategists went around and said, oh, they were hoaxes from Republicans. It was on your website. We have screenshots. You can't gaslight us forever. And the Democrats, by the way, for that matter, can't actually back down from the policies that were included in the Green New Deal. They have to remain this radical. All of this is redounding to President Trump's benefit. It's why Rasmussen today has President Trump's approval rating at 52%. These are shocking highs. Everything is breaking in Donald Trump's direction right now. This is going to cause a lot of problems for Democrats, and we haven't even gotten to the best Democrats for President Trump's reelection yet, all of whom are in Virginia. But first, let's make just a little bit more money, honey. Just a little tiny touch with Boll and Branch. Oh, you're going to love Boll and Branch. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up, folks. Just saying, if you want to, get ready for Valentine's Day the right way. At least what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure my Boll and Branch sheets are on my bed. Boll and Branch, these are the greatest sheets I've ever slept on. Getting a great night's sleep is easier and more affordable than you think. You don't need, sleeping pills. You just need to change your sheets, and that's why you should check out Boll and Branch. Everything they make, from bedding to blankets, is made from 100% organic cotton, which means they start out super soft and they get softer over time. If you buy really expensive, really high-end luxury sheets, they can cost $1,000 or more in the store. But Boll and Branch are only a couple $100 because they cut out the middleman and they go directly to you. This is why everyone who tries Boll and Branch loves them. I love them. They have thousands of 5-star reviews. Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, and Fast Company are all talking about Boll and Branch. Even 3 U.S. presidents sleep on Boll and Branch sheets. Shipping is free. You can try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a refund, but you will love them. You won't send them back. No risk, no reason not to give them a try. And just to get started, right now, my listeners, get ready for Valentine's Day. Think of me when you're putting your sheets on your bed. $50 off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com, promo code Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets. B-O-L-L and branch.com, promo code Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L. bollandbranch.com, promo code Michael. Check them out. Think about me on Valentine's Day. Everything is breaking in President Trump's direction here. So now the Democrats have to own post-birth abortion. They have to own destroying American energy, 88% of it. They have to own rebuilding every single building in the entire United States of America. They have to own a $40 trillion program where the best guess they have on how they can pay for it is to print money. That was in the Green New Deal. Quantitative easing. We're just going to print money at the Federal Reserve. They have to own radical health care laws, which were so disastrous to the Obama administration in 2009. This is why all of these campaigns have come hobbling out of the gate. Which Democrat campaign have we thought, wow, that's the one? That's the one. Is it Spartacus? No. Kamala Harris? She started with a mood mix. She can't even run on her own record. Liz Warren? She's started her campaign like 7 times already. Amy Klobuchar? Klobuchar? I don't think so. Ultimately, what this is going to be is a referendum on President Trump. But what are they going to run on? So you say, okay, here's what President Trump is doing. President Trump, because here, what they're going to do is say President Trump is terrible on race. He's terrible on race issues. He's a racist. And then who are the Republicans going to point to? Do you remember that little guy over in Virginia? Oh, I'm sorry, the 2 guys in Virginia who wore blackface? The Attorney General and the Governor, are they going to point to him? Doesn't look great. They're going to talk about Donald Trump being a racist. Elizabeth Warren, her entire career, defrauded the Texas bar, defrauded Harvard University, pretended to be a Native American. So that issue is out. What are they going to say? They're going to say that he's radical on policy. Radical on policy? The Democrats want to rebuild every building in the United States. How's that for radical on policy? They can't. The economy is still doing very well. People's tax returns are actually looking pretty good. The Democrats are trying to pretend they're not. People are getting a tax break. This is a big win. We will get to how the Virginia Democrats could have stopped the bleeding, could have helped them going into 2020, but they failed. We'll drink up those leftist tears. We'll also get to the Grammys, what the Grammys say about our culture. Hint, it's not great. John Kasich does yoga. Yuck. And we will talk about the papal visit to Abu Dhabi, the Christian Muslim interfaith dialogue that really does have a chance of reshaping the way that we talk about religion all around the world, that really does stand a chance to reshape certain religious alliances. But first, you've got to go to dailywire.com. If you're already there, thank you very much. You help keep the lights on. You keep Covfefe in my cup when I've got my delicious Covfefe cup. Instead of here on the road, I've got to drink out of paper coffee cups. You get me, you get the Andrew Klavan Show, you get the Ben Shapiro Show, you get the Matt Walsh Show, you get to ask questions in the mailbag, that's coming up on Thursday. You get to ask questions backstage, you get Another Kingdom, you get everything. You get the Leftist Tears Tumbler. If you have not yet watched Governor Northam's interview on CBS, where he doubles down on everything and says that slavery was just indentured servitude, where people showed up as if voluntarily at our shores. If you do not have your Leftist Tears Tumbler, I'm sorry, I'm sure you're just floating in your living room right now, but if you do have your Leftist Tears Tumbler, I'm sure that you were able to survive. Get it? It's important. It's the only FDA-approved vessel to contain those salty, delicious leftist tears. Also, if you're in Atlanta tonight, I'm going to be speaking at Emory University. It's going to be a ton of fun. The tears will flow. It will be wonderful, like beautiful ambrosia. Go to check it out at Emory. I think we're going to stream it online if you can't make it out. Otherwise, stick around. We'll be right back.